Quick question. When you say, "I love you," how old do you think that feeling actually is? A year old? A century? Maybe since Shakespeare wrote Romeo and Juliet? Wrong. Try 4 million years. Long before there were rings, weddings, or love songs, something inside an ape-like ancestor's brain lit up in a brand new way. And scientists now think that spark is the great-great-great-grandparent of every butterflies in your stomach. Can't stop texting them. Written 1,000 songs about it feeling you've ever had. But here's the twist. Nobody tells you. Romantic love wasn't built for romance at all. It was hijacked, stolen, repurposed from something far older and far less glamorous. So what was love originally for? Why does it feel like a drug? And when exactly did the first creature on Earth feel it? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll never think about love, or your own brain, the same way again. To find the first love, we actually have to go back way further than humans, way further than apes, even. About 200 million years ago, the very first mammals appeared, and mammals do something almost no other animals do. They stick around for their babies, they nurse them, protect them, feel something when they're separated. Scientists believe that bond, the mother-infant bond, is the very first kind of love that ever existed, the root all other love grew from. And here's the wild part. Tens of millions of years later, when romantic love finally evolved, it didn't build a new system from scratch. It borrowed the mother-infant bonding system and repurposed it for something new, bonding two adults together instead. Same chemicals, same brain circuits, just pointed at a romantic partner instead of a newborn. Which, frankly, explains a lot about why early love can feel so obsessive, so consuming, like nothing else matters. Fast forward about 193 million years, we land somewhere between 6 and 8 million years ago, right around when the human and chimpanzee family trees split apart. Somewhere in this window, scientists aren't sure exactly when, a strange new wiring pattern appears in the hominin brain. Not friendship, not lust, something else. An intense, focused pull toward one specific individual. Scientists call this the beginning of mammalian courtship attraction, evolving into something longer lasting, the root of romantic love. But here's the catch. It didn't appear because two hominins thought the sunset looked nice together. It appeared because of a problem. A very specific, very inconvenient problem with human babies. Here's something we all just accept as normal, that is, biologically speaking, completely insane. Human babies are born almost completely helpless. No walking, no grabbing, barely able to hold up their own heads. Compare that to a baby chimpanzee, which can cling to its mother's fur within hours of being born, or a baby horse, which can stand and run on its first day alive. Human babies, they need years of constant care before they can do anything for themselves. And there's a reason for that. It's the price we paid for our giant brains. Big brains don't fit easily through narrow hips. So evolution's solution was simple but brutal. Kick the baby out early before the brain finishes growing, which means human mothers were suddenly stuck with the neediest infant on the planet for years at a time. Now remember, these mothers also still had to eat, gather food, avoid predators, survive. For millions of years before this, a mother could often manage alone. Fruit, nuts, insects. She could forage with a baby strapped to her. But now, a baby this helpless, for this long, while she also needed to hunt or travel further for food. That math stopped working. She needed backup. And that's exactly the gap evolution needed to fill, by making fathers actually want to stick around. Not because he was forced to, not out of obligation, but because, for the first time, something in his brain made him want to stay close to one specific woman. That feeling, that pull to stay, to protect, to keep coming back to the same person, scientists believe that is, quite literally, the birth of romantic love. It wasn't poetry, it wasn't a sunset, it was survival math, and love was the emotional glue evolution used to make the math work. Here's where it gets even stranger. The brain didn't just create a vague feeling of fondness. It hijacked the exact same reward circuitry used for addictive drugs. Brain scans of people newly in love show activity in the same dopamine-rich regions activated by cocaine, obsessive thoughts, euphoria, cravings to see them, withdrawal like pain when they're gone. Sound familiar? That's not a coincidence. That's evolution being ruthlessly efficient. If love felt like a mild preference, our ancestors might wander off the second things got hard. So evolution cranked the dial all the way up to obsession, strong enough to keep two exhausted, hungry, overwhelmed parents glued together. long enough to raise one ridiculously helpless baby into adulthood. Okay, so the feeling is millions of years old, but did early humans actually experience it the way we do? Almost certainly, yes, at least in some form. Romantic love isn't a Western invention. It shows up in nearly every human culture ever studied. From hunter-gatherer tribes in the Amazon to ancient societies in Mesopotamia, people wrote about longing, jealousy, and obsession over a single person. So the feeling came first, long before anyone had a word for it. But here's the twist. Even though the feeling is ancient, marriage, the social institution, came along much later, and for very different reasons. For most of human history, who you partnered with had more to do with land, food, and family alliances than butterflies in your stomach. Romantic love and marriage didn't fully merge into one idea: marry the person you're in love with, until surprisingly recently. Fast forward to 11th and 12th century France. Here, something culturally new happens: courtly love. Poets and troubadours started writing about passionate, often secret love as something noble, even worth suffering for. This is the moment Western culture started treating romantic longing as beautiful, rather than dangerous or irrelevant. Centuries later, that idea exploded through literature: Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, Jane Austen's novels, cementing romantic love as a central life goal. By the 20th century, the idea was everywhere: find the one, fall in love, get married, in that order. But here's the thing: we didn't invent the feeling, we just finally gave it the microphone. So next time you're checking your phone every 5 minutes waiting for a text back, that's not weakness. That's a 4 million-year-old survival circuit, just pointed at a smartphone instead of a hunting partner. When you feel that gut punch of jealousy seeing your partner talk to someone else, that's the same ancient alarm system that once protected a fragile, two-parent survival team out on the open savanna. Your butterflies, your obsessing, your need to be near them, none of it is irrational. It's one of the oldest, most carefully engineered survival systems your body owns. Let's get specific. What's actually happening inside your brain when you fall for someone? First, dopamine, the chemical behind craving, focus, and that giddy, can't think about anything else feeling. It's the same chemical triggered by winning, by sugar, by gambling, which is exactly why early love can feel like a high you can't get enough of. Second, oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone, released during touch, closeness, even eye contact. It's the same hormone that floods a mother's brain during childbirth and breastfeeding. Remember, romantic love borrowed this system. Third, a drop in serotonin, which sounds bad, but it's actually why new love can feel obsessive, like you genuinely cannot stop thinking about them. 3 different chemicals. One job: make you focus on, crave, and stay close to a single person. Here's something most people never realize: falling in love and being in love are actually 2 different brain systems. The first, passionate, obsessive, dopamine-driven, is built to grab your attention and get you close to a partner fast. It's intense, but it's also short-lived, often fading within months to a couple of years. The second system, driven mostly by oxytocin and attachment, is slower, calmer, and built for the long haul. It's the difference between the spark that gets 2 people together and the bond that keeps a family fed and alive for 20 years. Evolution needed both, one to start the fire, one to keep it burning. So let's finally answer the question: when did humans first fall in love? There's no single date, no first couple we can point to, but there is a window, somewhere between 6 million and 300,000 years ago. Somewhere in that stretch, a struggling mother, an exhausted father, and one impossibly helpless baby needed the brain to do something it had never done before: bond 2 adults together, not just for a season, but for years. Long enough to raise a child who couldn't even hold up its own head, and the tool the brain reached for, the oldest, most powerful bonding system it already had, the one built for mothers and babies. It repurposed it, amplified it, and pointed it at a partner instead. That moment, quiet, undocumented, and utterly ordinary at the time, was the first time on Earth that something felt anything like what you call love today. So the next time someone says love is just chemicals, they're right. And that's exactly what makes it incredible. Because those chemicals survived ice ages, predators, famines, 4 million years of extinction events, and they're still here, inside you, right now, doing exactly the job they were built for. So whoever you love, a partner, a parent, a child, a friend, you're not just feeling an emotion. You're carrying forward the oldest, most successful survival strategy our species has ever had. If this blew your mind a little, hit subscribe, because next time, we're asking an even bigger question. Why did humans invent marriage? And why, for most of history, it had nothing to do with love at all. See you in the next one.